Genesis, the Creator. Written and read by Bill Lenihan. God was lonely. After millennia roaming the universe, having a look around, he was bored. So giving his son a wide berth, as it was bloody hot, his words, not mine, he came to the moon. What a dump, he thought. But looking further ahead, he saw this blue planet. Well, what's all that about, he thought. On closer inspection, he could see all these big things just lolling around and falling over. And yeah, you've guessed it, dinosaurs. And sadly, they were dying. Right, he said, I can do something with this. And always keen to make something out of a bad situation, he was off. As he approached the blue planet, he saw this lovely green spot with valleys and meadows and all that. That'll do, he said. Right, what day is it? Oh yeah, Monday. So rolling up his sleeves, he got stuck into cleaning the place up. By the end of the day, he decided to stop for a cup of tea. Well, he would have, but it hadn't been invented yet. So he decided to have a sit down. But looking around, he thought, where am I going to sit? He didn't fancy sitting around where there could be lots of haw-haws. I know, he thought. I'll make a garden. And as if by magic, a garden appeared. He was very impressed with his efforts. Now, what can I call it, he said. I mean, it must have a name, otherwise no one will know I did it. Yeah, I know, Eden, the Garden of Eden. He had a habit of talking to himself, as he hadn't had anyone to talk to. Not yet, anyway. Although why he called it Eden, he wasn't sure, as it was mainly full of daffodils and leeks. But as there wasn't anyone around to criticise, it didn't matter. So as the sun went down, he decided to have a kip. After a good kip, he woke to a bright summer's day, but he was still feeling lonely. And apart from that, he wanted to show off his garden. I know, I'll create a buddy, someone who can be my friend, and he looked just like me, and I'll call him Di. But after a bit of deliberation, decided to call him Adam instead. Then, as if by magic, Adam appeared. Gordon Bennett, exclaimed God. What's he look like? It was at this time that God realised that although creating Adam in his image, he really never knew what his image looked like. So, walking over to a bright sparkling pool, which he now named the Pooliverse, he looked at his reflection. God blimey, he said, what have I done? He looks just like me and I'm not happy. Just then, Adam appeared behind him, just rabbiting on and asking loads of questions like, who am I? Where do I come from? And are we there yet? He was really getting on God's wick, and raising his hands in the air, he exclaimed, Jesus Christ. Oh, that's a nice name, he thought. Anyway, back to the story. So to get Adam off his back, he decided to create something else, similar to Adam, who he called Eve. Straight away, she was nagging. That'll keep the pain in the arse busy, he thought. Right, where was I? Oh yeah. Looking out over the horizon, he thought, now, what am I going to call this place? I know, I'll call it Earth. So what I'll do is put loads of my own stuff in it. Right, where do I start? And so he created a platypus. Looking at it, he frowned. I'm not happy with that, he thought. Anyway, I'm hungry. I fancy a nice apple. So as if by magic again, an apple tree appeared, full of the most delicious fruit you could imagine. Picking one, he ate the apple. Why, that was delicious, he said aloud. Unfortunately, Adam and Eve heard him. Well, give us one of them, said Eve. By now, God had a guts full of both of them. The constant bickering was getting on his nerves. No, he said, this is the forbidden fruit, and you're not getting any of it, so shove off. And then it started raining, which really put a damper on things, as the umbrella hadn't been invented yet. Looking at the platypus, he was really disappointed, but decided to give it another go. Next came a lanky creature with long legs and a really long neck. Then a big fat one whose nose touched the ground, and loads of other creatures that didn't look right. Problem was, once he'd made them, he couldn't put them back, as not even he knew where they came from. After a few days, it still hadn't stopped raining, and the animals were all over the place, making a right mess of the garden they were. God was feeling really pissed off now, and to cap it all, he had a bit of a runny nose. And being as the handkerchief hadn't been invented either, he had to use his sleeve. And as everyone knows, if you use your sleeve, it gets a bit crusty and you finish up with a really sore nose. Then finally he cracked it. Eureka, he shouted. Or was that someone else? And yes, he came up with the horse. Wow, look at that, he said. That's brilliant. Then he came up with big cats, small cats, dogs, and loads of other cuddly things. Right, what day is it? He said, feeling really chirpy as the birds flew about him. Blimey, it's Saturday. No wonder I'm knackered. I'm having a day off tomorrow. So, after having a lie in, he woke to Adam and Eve still bickering and all the animals running amok. And it was still bloody raining. Right, what's for breakfast? He thought. Oh yeah, an apple. But as he got to the tree, there she was, as bold as brass. Well, he didn't say that really, as brass hadn't been invented either. Eve and Adam stood there, unable to move, as their feet were stuck in the mud, surrounded by apple cores. Only one remained. Eve saw God's eyes fixed on the apple, and with one hand on her hip, and the I don't give a shit expression on her face, she reached out and plucked it from the tree. And with a smirk on her face, she took a big bite from it. God was dumbstruck, which we'd all agree was unusual for him. Looking around, he thought, I'm out of here. So he took off and was never seen again, and that's the story so far. Well, sort of.